Hi everyone, welcome to the OLM community meeting, and let me share my screen so that you guys can see today's agenda. I hope you can see my screen right? So today is November 19th, and I think first thing, Camila, I see you have a topic, and Brett, you have a topic. So we'll quickly do a roadmap check-in, and then we'll come back to your topics. So with respect to roadmap, we have, yeah, all of the epics of 1.0 is done. So I think we can, that's good. There's probably one epic, which is, yeah, in the work item also, everything is completed. There was a blocker bug we created for, there is a epic was created for tracking all the blocker bugs. Okay, this is also marked done, I think. Okay, so already Jordan's mark is done. So I think we are mostly done. So I think the question is, when do you guys think to cut a 1.0 release? What's the general you know consensus or feelings? Do you guys think we're ready to cut a 1.0 release upstream? I understand Joe is not here. Um, Definitely I can sync with him, but in general, looks like we're ready for 1.0. So probably I'll create a Slack thread just to get everybody's opinion, and then we'll go from there.
I think, like in general, I have a feeling that we're in a good position. Um, During the past week, we've been brushing up on the docs, and I think we are in a more or less good position with docs as well.
Right.
But I see that there is also like a bunch of new issues related to docs created yesterday. So maybe, if we like, it's not a release blocker, it's on its own. But I think having tidy docs before the release is nice, but I don't think it's a blocker. So maybe, something like end of the week is reasonable.
Yeah.
I kind of have another thought on that. So it looks like there's like 20 different PRs between the main and RC1. It might be better to cut an RC2 and test that and just make sure that's good before an actual 1.0. And then if it is good, then just tag that as 1.0 as well.
Yeah, I think we can do that.
Yeah. Yeah, let's do that. I think that's a good idea.
I can push a tag. Probably tomorrow morning. I'm not sure that I can do it today.
I think after we do that, maybe we want to block the no longer measure anything until the release.
Yeah, I agree with that. That was along the lines of what we had discussed in Slack. So that's a good idea.
I did not get it. Can you guys please repeat? Sorry, I did not.
Just the plan would be cut to the second release candidate, and then after that block the main branch for we don't get anything merged anymore, for we don't risk need to test everything again unless it's a bug or something critical.
Yeah, I think it's still okay to merge docs as well. like as long as they don't touch the code. So it should just docs PR, I think, should be fine as well, because we build the website from main.
Yeah, we don't need block, like it just be conscious about, right? If everybody be in the same page, we can not merge anything that is not doc.
Yeah,
That is
sounds good.
Cool.
Yeah,
So
sounds
I
good.
assigned two action items here. One is like Mikhail, I will push RC2 tags tomorrow morning, and then I will also ask. Probably this is not required anymore. I think I'll remove this action item. We'll do RC2 and then basically go from there again. Next Tuesday we'll meet again and figure out, or maybe, yeah. So yeah, cool. I think that's done. So moving to the discussion topics, Camila, your topic about migration guide from V0 to V1.
Yeah, that was a request made by the community. I don't know if you has someone work on that. I think the idea would be more like, what about we track the need, like because you will need at some point, not now, have how I migrate from the old version to the new one, and I think we don't have that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. I think, we need to have the migration guide. Do we have Epic for this? Does anyone know? I don't think we have Epic for this.
I
I
think
think
there's,
go
go
on.
ahead. I think there's an epic around this, but like when we talk about migration, there's like 4 or 5 different things that could be part of that. One is like, how does someone migrate from in cluster running V0 to V1? Migration could mean how do operator authors repackage their
Mm,
operator, right? Like migration
no,
is many things. Which one
yeah,
are we talking about?
so okay, I will clarify. I think we are speaking here about, I have operator lifecycle manager running on my cluster. That was the case here from community, right? I'm using that in production, and now that is deprecated. How I migrate to V1, right? For the operators, not for the operators authors, nothing changes unless they are, the only thing that they need to be aware of, right, is that they cannot use webhooks, this stuff. I think what changes for the cluster admin, he need to put the new version. Also, he needs to ensure the catalog index, like validate all solutions that is inside. If he has some kind of the solution that he cannot work with the constraints or not.
Yeah, it's also a lot of, I think, work. There is Epic like I linked. If you see the description is not very clear, and that, the definition of done is not very clear. Um, we definitely need to have a separate kind of effort on this. I believe there's also significant amount of work we have to do on the um, on the framework side, because we are changing different types now, right? OLM V0 is a different type in the API server, and V1 is a different type. So that is going to be I think, a big challenge. That is definitely in our plan, not scheduled, it's not high priority at this point, because we have way more things to kind of cover to make V1 more usable at this point, right? At least match some usability like V0, which is not right now. I mean, if you look at the um, not here, sorry. If you look at the 1.0 epics, 1.1 epics here in the roadmap, so this is 1.0 and this is 1.1. These are mostly like trying to make it more usable, and then, because once V1 is ready, then we can think about like more ready and more usable, and then we'll definitely work on migration, how to like a migration from V0 to V1. But at this point, in my opinion, that's not a high priority as compared to other epics we have. So we definitely can work on that, refine that epic more, and we'll come back to this.
Yeah, I agree with that. Because we wanted to make sure the V1 becomes a thing, and then it's easy to use, and then people mostly will start to test the V1, and then once we feel that folks all feel that V1 reached to a certain quality, and then people may start to take V1 more seriously and start to think about, hey, how can I migrate my workload from V0 to V1? So agree, right? Migration is definitely a really important area, but in terms of the priority and the ordering we tackle things, I think that may comes later. And agree, right? To Jordan was said in a comment. Now the existing epic is kind of like a template. We kind of think through that. Hey, we need that, but we haven't actually reached to the point that we wanted to tackle that in detail. So
do we need to take some action, like for example, track an issue inside of this epic, like for when the right time comes, like when we be able to spend effort on that, we spend, or that is not required?
Yeah, so what we recently have done, Camila, is like we've gone through every epic in our roadmap, and then basically had a discussion and created this 1.1. We can go through and create even 1.2, like in the goal as a goal. So we will continue going through these epics and basically, figure out relative priority in this meeting, like in the community meeting. So we'll definitely, once 1.1. I mean, if you think like, I don't know if you've gone through 1.1 epics. I mean, this is not final. This is just like a first iteration. What we thought. Obviously, we'll refine more. Have individual epics. We might have discussions. We might have briefs and RFCs and things like that. So if you think any of these should have less priority than the migration or things like that, I mean, let me know. I think let us know in this meeting. We can discuss again. But in general, I think general understanding is these are the things which is high priority than migration. So yeah.
Just one thing to share, the concern from the person the community came, because when they go in the old repo, right, in the V1 repo, they see two solutions deprecated, right? So they would like to know how to move forward. Just to share the context, because I didn't, sorry.
Yeah, no, understand. I think, yeah, it's a very natural thing to come to mind. Like if you're releasing V1, how do I migrate my V0 to V1? But I think in general, um, that's not completely right here, because V1 is, even though we are releasing the first iteration of the APIs, but I think it's need way more work with respect to the client tooling and some of the things listed here to make it more kind of usable. We haven't even started working on the client tooling side, and things like that. So I will come back to this. I think we can respond to the Slack saying we will look into this, but right now here is our plan, and we'll come back to migration once we kind of do finish other things and come back to the migration.
Yeah, to follow on that, I had my hand up, but the 1.0 release of OLM v1 was not intending to cover the story of migration there, because we right now support just such a minor subset of things in existing catalogs that we didn't feel we could have a meaningful dialogue about how folks could move. But we have, like we've been talking about here, we have some very strawman epics where we were kind of marking the future where we need to have some discussion. And we also have the OLM supporting tools SIG that we established to try to facilitate some of these discussions as well. So yeah, we'll just have to continue talking about it, but it's definitely a goal here that's going to be a complicated sequence of things here, right? Like one epic is probably not going to be sufficient to capture the whole scope here, but it'll start us.
Camila, do you have any other questions on this topic?
No, that is fine. I just want to bring the attention that
Cool.
came up and to see if we have something to package about it.
Cool. Thank you. Brett, we can move to your topic.
Yeah, just some a PR that Camilla had been working on kind of pointed out that we did have ginkgo tests going on in a few places in operator controller. We've got just basically one, and in catalog D we've got a handful. And I just thought it was worth talking about whether we actually wanted to sort of standardize and say we don't really want these type of tests in the OLM V1 related projects, or whether we want to kind of maintain it as a heterogeneous, like hybrid test however you want. So yeah, I think Jordan's right. We're missing too many people to really get too much traction on this topic.
Yeah, I would suggest that we move this discussion to the next meeting.
Okay, yeah, let's move it.
Thanks, Brett. Because I think we have less maintenance on this call, and
Yep.
cool. Looks like today is going to be short call. Anybody have anything else to discuss? Yeah, I mean, just to give you idea, there is OpenShift code freeze coming up. I think folks are just busy doing last minute things. So
So question, not on the agenda, but just because I showed up late, and apologies for that. Did we come up with an action plan for finalizing the 1.0 release of catalog D and operator controller? Or are we still staying at RC1?
we had a little bit of discussion. So the general, and I think we discussed and we agreed that we will have RC2 cut tomorrow morning. Mikolai will do that. And then because we had like almost 20 PRs merged between Lars RC1 and main branch right now. And then I think we'll stop. Probably at some point we'll just slow down on I mean, we'll not merge any features before we cut 1.0. Maybe docs are fine, bug fixes are fine. Then once we release new features, we can just stop after RC2 for some time so that we can cut 1.0.
Okay, thank you.
Cool.
Now that you mentioned catalog D, I'm thinking about RC2 and like final GA. So how I would normally do that, I would just tag RC2 or whatever the last RC as a final 1.0.0, but we have catalog D, which is also still RC1, and maybe we should tag catalog D as 1.0.0, updated in the Go mode and controller, operator controller, tag it as RC2, and then we can retag the operator controller as a 1.0.0. Does it make sense? Yeah, I know it's really hard to follow those numbers, and basically what I'm trying to say, I will try to describe it in other words. We tagged almost at the same time catalog D and operator controller as RC1, and I think it will be weird if operator controller GA will still be pointing to catalog D RC1.
No, I think what you're saying makes sense, and honestly, that should be like standard operating procedure for our releases here, right? Is we bump the version on catalog D, cut its release at the new version. We adopt that in operator controller, make sure that works okay, and then we bump and release the new version of operator controller, right?
Yeah.
Just in general.
Yeah, there's the flow, I think, right?
Yeah, but are we okay cutting, let's say tomorrow, GA release of catalog D, like 1.0.0?
I would still wait for, I would prefer RC2 And then, are you saying 1.0 because there no code has merged between RC1 and the current main branch?
There were probably some changes, but I don't think they were. I need to check. There were some
It looks
PRs
just like docs and
Yeah.
mod updates and stuff in the install process. So just make file stuff, make module and docs. That's it for catalog D.
Yeah, it's so basically we have two options. One is to cut catalog D RC2, bump operator controller to RC2 catalog D, and cut RC2 operator controller. That's one option. Then if we go this way, then for operator controller GA, we will also have to cut GA catalog D, bump catalog D, and release RC1. Oh, sorry, RC without RC, like a GA. Another option is to do a GA 1.0.0 catalog D now, bump it in operator controller, cut RC2 of operator controller, and then GA operator controller. Less, movements in the second option, and less changes potentially. I don't see us changing catalog D at this point a lot. So I think it's safe.
Yeah, I think Nikolai, I think one thing I'm little kind of, I mean, mostly looks what I mostly agree with you. The final API review, what we have done is like, we sort of got a lot of comments and we fixed them. And then today we actually went to those folks and tried to say, we did the changes. Can you make sure that, do you agree with our changes? But we did not find them today. The folks are PTO. So to be safer side, I would like to wait like a couple of days more to see if they come back or not. If they cannot, then obviously we go ahead with our plan. So that's the reason I'm like, even if there is no changes, but just to be on the safer side, kind of holding back on marking catalog D like V1.0.
Sorry, didn't get that the last bit. Could you repeat about catalog D?
So when we reviewed, when we went for the external review of catalog D APIs and operator controller, we got a lot of review comments. Then we fixed them. After fixing them, today we went to those OpenShift API reviewers and said, do you agree with our changes? We had that plan, but they both are PTO today. Like they're not working, like maybe sick or maybe out of office. So we could not get a feedback from them on the changes we have done. So we just wanted to make sure they agree with the changes and they don't come up with any other suggested, they don't suggest anything else to change in the catalog D API stuff. So that loop is not completely closed. The very good probability that they would say this is fine, go ahead. I mean, we don't have any further comments. But just to be on the safer side, I would say that let's not mark catalog D as 1.0.
Okay.
Yeah, we can mark it more like after a couple of days, but not today. I think that's what I was.
Yeah, got it. I did not catch the catalog, like last sentence, catalog D side.
Yeah, that's
not
fine.
Marking it. Okay. Yeah, I will cut RC2 for both then tomorrow.
And then the following question here, because there was a little comment about it, but I don't know that it was explicit. Are we gonna, when we get to RC2, are we gonna hold off on all PR merging that is not related to a 1.0 release?
Yes, we discussed this as well. We are not going to merge anything except for bug fixes and docs.
All right. Désolé.
I'm not sure if we want to, lock merges somehow on GitHub? Probably not. I think we just need to make an announcement. I can also like post something on Slack, so that all the maintainers are aware that we like approach it carefully at this point.
Cool. Sounds good. Thanks, Mikolai. Thanks, everyone, and talk to you soon. Have a good rest of the day, evening. Bye.
Thanks. Bye.